In this final episode of the series, we focus on the beautiful landscapes of the Kgalagadi. They really have the ability to evoke a sense of peace that is not very commonly found in the city. It is one of the few arid parks in South Africa, and even though it is open and vast, it is so full of life. This is a photographer's paradise. There is something for everyone, from the professional to the amateur. We have spent many days admiring the work of those great photographers from the Kgalagadi groups. But nothing quite beats the feeling of capturing some special moments for the first time by yourself.
Before entering the Leeudril 4x4 track, you will need to book this at the reception area at Twee Rivieren, which I think cost around 120, 180, somewhere around there. This permit allows you to enter the Leeudril track as many times as you want in one day, but if you decide to go on the next day, you're going to have to pay for a new permit. We did it twice in the one day, with the morning drive being a lot more preferable. It is super pretty and really open up at the top. You don't necessarily need a 4x4 vehicle for it, but you definitely need high clearance. It is a one-way track, so please try and avoid doing any U-turns. You can enter the Leeudril 4x4 track from the Nosso riverbed, which will pretty much just take you a little bit up along the Nosso riverbed, or cut left just before Short Dune Road, and that'll take you all the way across the dune and exit close to Achterloni.
Achterlony is one of those great picnic stops in the Kgalagadi. It features the standard undercover picnic areas with braais where you can make lunch or breakfast. The Achterlony Museum features a recreation of what it would have been like to live in the Kgalagadi, as well as the history of the park. There's a lovely little walk you can do around the museum area, both inside and outside, explaining how things were made, how things were done, and it can be really interesting.
How much you want? I 5 quickly and you can't even do. Mom now, a bit too short. But all day.
Shortune Road is a really nice roundabout route which would take you along the North Riverbed. You can cut across over the dunes and eventually end up in or just along the Ayu Riverbed. It is hexically corrugated, so going along that road with the trailer isn't advisable, and if so, just make sure that everything is very tightly packed because they are going to rattle around. We have not seen much as far as game is concerned. However, you will definitely see ostriches. We had some really nice ostrich sightings during our recent trip, whereby we saw must have been about 20 to 30 chicks, pretty much just in one sitting, which is quite nice to see and very photographic. One of our trips along the North Riverbed on our way to Leeudril 4x4 track, we came across 2 goshawk that were looking very conspicuous on the side of the road. And with a closer look, we discovered that they were trying to hunt down a Cape cobra, which was on our bucket list for our recent trip.
Birds are trying to get it away.
Yeah. For our last night, we opted for a chalet. It gave us a chance to pack up and clean up our tent and sort out all our belongings, and also just enjoy the luxuries of a chalet for a night. We left a few onlookers scratching their heads when we decided to take advantage of a sudden rainstorm and wash our cars outside our chalet. As true Cape Townians would, we'd never waste any water. The final bra is always a sad one. You know you're leaving the next day and it's back to reality and you kind of just want to stay a little bit longer. But we've always found peace in thinking and planning about our next trip, which will be at the end of this year. And hopefully next time we'll be able to talk about camping for the first time in the Botswana side of the park, because we also hope to stay at Rooipoort's. See you next time.